Learning Docker using ChatGPT. You'll be using ChatGPT in various use cases. One such use case is to learn a new topic. Let's say you are new to Docker and you'd like to take leverage of ChatGPT to learn it. You want it to help you learn the concepts starting from the basics. Let's say what is it and how it is different compared to other technologies, how to install, what are the basic commands that you can run, and what is the expected results, and so on. Let's quickly check how you can use the same using the ChatGPT interface. So here I have ChatGPT in the left and we have the terminal to the right. For the terminal, I'm using Mac OS, but it should be okay even if you use the other OSs. I'm assuming that I'm going to be a beginner in Docker and I don't know much about this technology. So I want to start learning from the scratch. Of course, I can go to Google search and then start doing it, but let's see how we can use the same using GPT. First, you can get started with asking the basic questions about Docker. Let's say I want to start with knowing the difference between Docker and Kubernetes. I keep hearing about these two terms interchangeably whenever it comes to these Docker. So I want to know what's the difference. Let's go to Docker. Let's go to ChatGPT and ask the same. What's the difference between Docker and Kubernetes? Okay, so Docker and Kubernetes are both related to containerization, but they serve different purpose and solve different problems. So it doesn't look like one and the same. Okay, Docker is a platform that allows developers to create, deploy, and run applications in containers. Okay, Kubernetes, on the other hand, is a container orchestration platform that automates the deployment, scaling, and management. In summary, yeah, this is what I like typically about GPT. So although it's going to throw me a huge set of text, but at the end, it's going to summarize. Docker is a tool for building and running containerized applications, whereas Kubernetes is a platform for orchestrating and managing containerized applications at scale. Okay, this looks good overview. Let me say my next question is it mandatory to use Kubernetes? Mandatory to use Kubernetes when, say, I'm working with a Docker image? No, it's not mandatory when working with Docker image. Docker can be used independently as a standalone platform to build, package, and deploy applications. Kubernetes is designed to orchestrate and manage containerized applications. Okay. However, for small projects, development and testing purposes, Docker can be used on its own without the need for Kubernetes. Okay, that's good to know. I can avoid one more dependency while learning a new technology. It's good. And then let me see, can you explain me the basic terminologies in Docker? Because whenever I see Docker, people are working on it, they use terms like Docker itself and then say containers, images, build, Docker file. There are so many. So let's see whether ChatGPT can help me in it. Of course, I have got some spelling mistakes. I'm going to ignore it because the GPT is going to correct it and then show me the results accordingly. Sure, here are some basic terminologies. Okay. So one point I would like to bring here is if the text is huge, then it keeps going to add it at the end. So it keeps scrolling, then you cannot read it easily. So I just scroll a bit above so that the new text gets generated at the bottom and you feel free to read the top text. The first one is image. Image is a read-only template used to create containers. Then it goes to container, Docker file, registry, volume, network, and compose. Okay, so these are the basic building blocks of Docker. So it's good that it's listing out these. If you want, you can expand further to learn more, or you can focus on one particular topic and keep expanding on that particular one. Next, let's say I'm okay with the basics. I want to get started with Docker. Let's see what I can do. How do I get started? Okay, let me throw the same question to it. How do I get started? I'm okay with the basics now. Install Docker. Yes, of course. The first step is to install Docker on the computer. Okay, this is what I was saying. It keeps adding to the text bottom. Just scroll above so that it goes to the bottom. Install Docker. The first step is to install the Docker, then learn the basics, create a Docker file, build an image, create a container, publish an image, Docker compose, explore advanced features. Okay, it's pretty much is giving me the entire scope of the Docker. I'm not going to do everything at one shot. So let's see whether we can do 2 or 3 steps of this. Install Docker. Of course, I already have the Docker installed. If you want to know the steps, you can again ask ChatGPT to give you the steps in specific OS. For instance, can you show me the steps to install Docker in Mac? Then it's going to give you those instructions that is specifically targeted for your OS, namely Mac in this case. I already have Docker installed, so I'm going to skip it. Let's say, how can I ensure Docker is installed? My intention is to check whether the Docker is installed and then go with the second point, learn the basics. I'm going to prompt GPT to give me the set of things to learn. Okay, so to ensure Docker is installed in your computer, you can follow this. Open a terminal. Okay, I have it here. Type the following command, docker version. Okay, if the Docker is installed correctly, you should see the version information. Yes, I do see it. I have got client. I have the version. I have the Docker desktop. Server version, Docker engine version is 20.10. Okay, looks good. To verify the Docker is working properly, you can run a simple container. Okay, it's good that it's going to give me the sample code as well. Docker run hello world. Okay, let me clear it out. Since hello world is a simple image and it's not able to find it in my local environment, it's pulling from Docker Hub and then pull complete, downloaded newer image. Okay, looks good. And then I can see this command will download the hello world Docker image and run it in new container. If everything is working correctly, you'd see a message indicating Docker is running. Yes, I can see a text hello from Docker. This message shows that installation is working correctly. Okay, this gives me the confidence that Docker is installed properly and I am ready to explore further. It's good. It gave me the exactly clear instructions how to verify. In case you face any issues with any of these steps, again, you can use the Docker to, you can use the ChatGPT to prompt it to give you instructions. Let's say the fourth step, when you run Docker run hello world, you ran into some issue, then you can tell it, I had the issue with step 4, and you can copy paste the error and it's going to correct it. Okay, so Docker is installed. So what's next? Let's go. I have installed Docker and it's running. Okay, can you help me with learning the basics of Docker? Sure. Images. Okay, I think it's repeating me the same set of high-level concepts. Images, containers, Docker files. Okay, I'm going to stop it because I already know about those high-level concepts. I want the exact examples. Let me rephrase my prompt. Please help me running basic commands with an example image. Say BusyBox. It's a very lightweight image. Okay, now it's giving me the code. That's good. So if you can see that if the prompt is at a higher level, then it's going to give us details which is not too specific. So in this case, I just mentioned, just give me details to learn the basics. So it gave me only the textual informations. If you want to be more specific, you can keep refining it. You can stop the prompt, you can refine, and then keep going ahead. So in this case, I want to learn the basics of Docker using a sample image. So image name also I gave explicitly as BusyBox. Okay, now here are some basic commands. Docker pull. Okay, I'm not going to go in depth about what each of these command does. Let's see whether the code given by it is working properly. Docker pull downloads a specified image. Okay, let me clear it out. So this is going to pull the image from the Docker Hub. Okay, I see that it has pulled properly. Use the latest tag. Good. Then Docker run creates a new container from the specified Docker image and starts it. Okay. Okay, but I don't see anything. Let's see whether it has covered more instructions. This will start a new container from BCBox image and drop you into a shell inside the container. But I didn't see anything. I just see Docker run BCBox. It looks like it terminated. I'm assuming I'm a beginner. So naturally I want to know what happens after this. So let me go back. After running Docker run BCBox, I do not see anything. It returned to the terminal. When you run Docker run BCBox, it creates a new container, okay, and immediately exits. Okay, it keeps prompting me. Immediately exits because there is no command specified to run inside the container. So basically what it's telling is it started and it exited. Okay. To keep the container running and interact, you can specify a command to run inside the container. Okay. I just want to try out with a sample and I hope it has given me an example as well. For example, you can run the sleep command, which will keep the container running for a specified amount of time. Okay. Similar to BCBox, let's say I want to work with Nginx. Let's see. Can you show me the related commands using Nginx? Okay, it's going to give me the same set of commands but using the Nginx image. So docker pull Nginx, run with port mapping. Okay, let's scroll. Let's quickly run this. Okay, I'm going to pull it. And the next command is to docker run, creates a new container. Okay. Okay, it ran and it exited. This will start a new container and map the container port to port 80. And then it says me to use docker ps to list the commands. Okay, I see a Docker image, Nginx. Okay. Since we have given -d, just know that it is running in the detached mode, means that it's running in the background. And then you can use other commands like docker execute, docker stop, and so on. Let's say docker stop, and then it says container ID. What is container ID? So this one, in case you don't know, you can again prompt it. Replace container ID with the ID of the Nginx container that you obtained from the docker ps command. Okay, this looks good. Okay, now if you see docker ps, you don't see it. And if you keep scrolling further, it gives us the instructions for going ahead with Dockerfile, Docker build, and so on. So let's stop it here and then we'll proceed with the next section. Let's say I'm done with using the example Docker commands and then I have done a basic troubleshooting if you come across any issues. Next, I want to test my knowledge. So I have learned something basics out of Docker. I want to test the knowledge. So instead of just working out on your own, you can prompt it to give you questions and then you can answer them. So let's see it. Let me clear this terminal. Now come to here and say, I'm getting hang of it. Okay. Hang of the basics. Can you test my knowledge? Okay. So in this way, I'm using GPT to teach me the basics, run me some commands, and also I want it to test my knowledge. And if I want to know the answer for it and then explain the question and the respective answer, I can use the same GPT. Please go ahead and ask me any questions. Okay. Let me rephrase it. Can you prompt me with questions in say multi-choice format? You can be very explicit about what type of question you want, whether it's an assignment as a multi-choice or whether it's like a true false. So you can be more explicit. Can you prompt me questions in multi-choice to test my knowledge? This should work. Okay. What is a Docker? Okay. What is a Docker image? What is a Docker container? Okay. All these are very high level because we didn't mention any scope. Okay. Let me stop it. So we have what's the purpose of Docker pull. Okay, good. Purpose of Docker run, Docker execute. Okay, this looks good for the beginners. So definitely it's going to be helpful. Let's say you want to know the answers. Give me the answers. Okay, that's good. That's pretty neat. So within few seconds, you have generated a list of questions to test your knowledge. I'm assuming you yourself have answered it, and you can cross-verify the same. So if you are going to use this Google search or anything, then it's going to be taking a longer time. You have to keep hopping to many websites and come across various disturbances like ads and so on. But here you can see it's very clean. Let's say next step is to increase the difficulty because it looks basic to me. I'm just assuming that I'm a beginner. This looks still basic to me. I want to increase the difficulty. Increase the difficulty level, please. Here are more challenging questions. What is the purpose of Docker volume? Okay. Docker network. Yeah, definitely it has increased the difficulty because these are like concepts that is not beginner friendly. Okay, looks good to me. What is the purpose of a Docker registry? Yeah, this is solid. So what is the difference between copy and add instructions in a Docker file? That's good. Purpose of Docker system prune? Yes. Yeah, so definitely this time it has given me a great set of questions of higher difficulty. If you want the answers, you can still prompt the same. So finally, let's say you are done with the questions. You really want even more challenging approach of using GPT to test your knowledge. You can ask it to give you an assignment that you can try to complete on your own. So let's say, can you provide me a sample assignment that I can practice on Docker? If you want to include more details like which topic, whether it's a Docker file or say managing the images, you can be explicit. You can set the difficulty level and you can add more instructions like be specific to Mac or Windows images. So like that, you can keep adding more conditions to it. For now, I'm just going to keep it quite simple. Let's see what's the assignment it's going to throw me at. Create a Docker file for a simple web application that displays Hello World on the homepage. Okay, the application should be served using Nginx web server, and it's giving me even more steps. So if you want to be at the higher level, I'll stop at this. I'll consider only this as the assignment instructions and then do it. In case you need more hints, then you can go through this, and it appears that it's giving the final result as well. So if you don't want the Docker, if you don't want the ChatGPT to do this, then you can be more explicit. So you can say that please do not give me the answers or hints. Then it will follow your instructions and then give you only the high level questions. So let me give one final example. Can you give me one more assignment of medium difficulty? Do not give me hints on the solution. Okay. So this time I am very explicit about three things. One is the difficulty, and second is do not give me the hints and do not give me the solution as well. Okay. Create a Docker image that runs a Node.js application. Hello World should print on Hello World using port 3000. Okay. Definitely this time also it appears that it has given me the hints and the answers as well. So it has not worked this time. Then it means that I need to even fine tune my prompt and make it even more explicit about please do not give me any hints and solutions. That's okay. You can stop at this and then take the assignment on your side, and then if you want hints, scroll down and then of course the solution. So using this way, you can use a GPT to give you assignments of any difficulties. You can get the hints and solutions as well. So I hope this video has helped you to know how you can use ChatGPT to make use of its powerful features to learn a Docker.